Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live coverage of the MGA Wild Rift Copa America. I am Vespor. I'm today going to be providing color commentary. I am joined by the awesome Moose to be providing play-by-play commentary as well. Moose, how you doing?
Hey, I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Vest. It is a fun day for sure. MGA, League of Legends, Wild Rift. We're going to get some lower bracket tournament matchups here today, and I'm excited to get things started. And this is one of the things that I really love about double elimination tournaments. The ability to be able to come back even when you're in that deficit. When you lose that first bracket matchup, you have the second chance to be able to get yourself into that grand finals. So this is a double elimination. All of our teams now are fighting for their tournament lives here today. And we're going to be starting off at the very top left-hand side of your screen. You're going to see Obsidian up against Seven Sins. That is going to be our first matchup. And as you can see, we've got a lot of teams ready to go, wanting to be able to get themselves these wins, wanting to be able to get themselves further into the bracket. Taking a look here at the winners bracket that has been completely taken care of. Take a look at our two final teams, 420 and Tribe Gaming, going to be battling it out later today or later in the week, trying to be able to get themselves into the first spot for grand finals. Those were some interesting games. We'll leave it at that. But today it's all about lower bracket, and we're going to see who's going to be able to take these wins and move forward throughout it. Going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump back to our desk here. Well, we don't have a sponsor for the desk. Maybe we'll think of one. I don't know. The MGA Copa America analyst desk that we've got going on here. So definitely it was a lot of fun watching and casting the upper bracket, but I'm with you 100% of the way there that having the lower bracket is super cool, just knowing that these teams get a second chance because it is, best of ones all the way through. And we'll be getting to the best of threes later on in the final couple rounds of the tournament here, but we're still in the lower bracket today. And then tomorrow we'll be doing the Latin America South and Brazil lower bracket. Still best of ones, but now these teams are certainly fighting for their tournament lives because if you lose, you're out, but you've still got that opportunity to fight your way all the way through the lower bracket, get back up to the finals that way. So should be a lot of fun to see which teams make it. We've already seen a couple of these teams before, but I believe our first matchup of the day is one that we have not seen yet. It is going to be Obsidian versus Seven Sins, which should be pretty cool. Haven't gotten to see these teams, I don't think. I'm not 100%. I hate to say that and then have us that we watched them the other last weekend. It's possible. But I think we'll be getting into draft with that one pretty soon. First bands already, Wukong, Senna, Galio, Ezreal have already come through, so draft should be on the way shortly.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and so I'm going to be with you there. I don't remember seeing either of these teams. And I mean that happens unfortunately when you get into the losers bracket so early in the tournament. It's very difficult for you to be able to actually have games where you actually are casted for. So this might be the only opportunity that these players are going to be able to get themselves these wins. But we are ready to get into it. Wukong, Senna, Galio, Ezreal, like you were talking about, Senna and Lucian are now live. They are ready to go, ready to be used here in this bracket. And so that's always going to be super fun. I know, at least for a couple of other tournaments that I've been playing, Senna and Lucian have been banned. They've been taken out because of how mean they can be. But it does look like we are going to be using them here today, and we're going to see immediately Lucian going to be picked up by Selectq, and why not going to be picking up the Braum Major Pain with probably one of the most obvious first choice picks in that Ziggs. Looks like Camille is coming out as well, so already shaping up to be a really strong draft coming in from both these teams.
Absolutely, yeah. I love the Lucian Braum combo. It's something that, I mean, Lucian's still pretty new to Wild Rift. I think for people coming from League of Legends PC, they might be a little bit surprised to know that, of course, Lucian has just come to Wild Rift because the champions are coming in different orders. It's really fun for me, having come from League of Legends PC. Now I get to experience these champion releases I didn't get to see when they're on League of Legends PC. But Lucian Braum is as classic a pairing on Wild Rift as it is on League of Legends. It's a really strong bot lane. The Ziggs lock-in, as you said, does make a lot of sense there. Okay, I'm going with the Jarvan, and the Twisted Fate here is pretty cool. So I like that with the opportunity for those cross-map plays. TF actually really meta on PC League as well. And yeah, pretty quick draft. You're going with the Jinx Lulu, so some really strong late game power being brought in here by Obsidian. I will be curious to watch the laning phase. I think the onus is on Seven Sins bot lane here to try to get an advantage there. And I think with the Lucian, the Lucians we've seen in this tournament have been absolutely insane. So I'm curious how good the Lucian, especially the Lucian Braum combo we'll see from Seven Sins is going to be. I think having Lucian and Twisted Fate with the extra attack speed is a nice little interaction just because you've got somebody else that can help stack up that Braum passive a little bit easier. It's one of those things where I like to think about it as the opposite of, say, a Sejuani, where Sejuani would always want a bunch of melee characters to help stack up the stun. Braum, the ranged ones can be nicer. And Jarvan, I'm in another kind of micro interaction, but Jarvan's flag increasing attack speed helps everybody stack up that Braum passive rather faster. So should be pretty cool to see that. I think that's kind of, I feel like the supports maybe don't get so much attention sometimes in Wild Rift and League of Legends PC, and I think the Braum here and how the team plays around the Braum could be key. The Singed also, I haven't even gotten into it, but that is super cool. That's something that some teams were banning away previously. I don't think we ever got a chance to see it that I recall, maybe once. So I'm really eager to see something that it's a little bit less conventional pick, but I think one that a lot of people will respect the power of right now.
Oh man, no, I've seen Singed like dominate Wild Rift, especially up against the Camille. Just being able to have that extra little bit of health, being able to pop the Insanity Potion to get those resistances, and then having the poison. Camille does not like being in a situation where she's not able to move around. Not only does he have the poison, but he also has the grounding field as well. So the hook shot for the Camille is going to be difficult to be able to use. I'm a little nervous though. My concern and my thing when I always look at these champions, when I look at these teams that have a Camille and a Ziggs, is the Wombo combo potential. I don't see a lot of synergy working well between those two champions, and it's because of the Hextech Ultimatum into the Mega Inferno Bomb. If you use Hextech Ultimatum incorrectly and you push everyone out of the way and you put the Mega Inferno Bomb right on top of that one player, you might get that one player, but you're sacrificing two ultimates for it. So it's really going to boil down to whether or not Major Pain and Duel are going to be able to work together to be able to get themselves some good situations early on. And it's going to really, test their ability to communicate and get themselves those good early game fights. Nice wording as always coming through. Top laners keeping track of those blue buffs, but early game coming through. Nothing too crazy happening yet. Rune-wise, looking like everything is looking fairly common. And we're just gonna run through the game and see who's gonna be able to take the first early advantage.
Yeah, it's interesting early on. I think a little bit of push going the way of the Jinx Lulu. Now, the little bit of the range advantage there and just having both the range advantage on Jinx, but also on the Lulu itself is nice. I still feel like, especially here at level 2, the Lucian Braum does have that all-in potential, but I think it does look like Why Not got poked out a little bit here. And that may be the reason for that. I didn't see too much of the early trades. Actually seeing Ghost pop topside there. Armadillo, as we do have a Jarvan on the way, potentially looking for a gank here. See if the flag threat comes through. Chompers are down.
Not quite going to be able to get it just yet. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That gank was almost there. Trying to be able to get it, but unfortunately just wasn't able to get the Naga. Great use of the Chompers, like you said. Nicely done coming in from the Jinx.
Yep, you have to forgive me there. My play-by-play instinct started to kick in just a hair. So we have some action here, but looks like that might be all she wrote for the time being, so we'll see. Feel free to cut me off there if I start droning on, jumping into the minutiae here of the team fights. But it looks like early on, push going the way of the Camille. Push pretty much going to Obsidian in all 3 lanes right now. We're where Wengi, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, on the Olaf does look to path first here. Looks like he's just going for a full clear and then potentially even a reset. Are some pings topside. It looks like Jarvan Osoloco does want to potentially look for that Camille. Didn't see if she used the hook shot, so that'll be a question to see if she does have the capability to get back. Oh, here we have a replay bot. So yeah, I mean, pretty simple here. The Chompers went down. That just puts a nice stop to it. Nice awareness. I don't think there was a ward that caught the Jarvan ganking here, but I mean, just a quick response there from the Obsidian spot lane, which is nice. Certainly the opportunity to punish that Jinx a little bit more so than the Lucian on their own. I think a Lulu will make it a little bit easier for the surviving of the Jinx, especially later on as we get to that hyper carry stage. Jinx, Lulu going to be pretty fearsome here, and the Ziggs as well, honestly. I think some of the onus again is going to be on Payro here on the Twisted Fate to make some plays with the Destiny cross map. I could definitely see that working. Ganking bot, potentially getting that Lucian ahead could be pretty good.
And yeah, and that's gonna be, I mean, the big bottom line here is the Lucian gonna be able to get fed? One thing that a lot of Lucian players have to deal with is, you know, especially in plays where, you know, you're going to have to be that solo damage dealer, you have to worry about not only getting, you know, dove on, which, I mean, to be fair, this lineup coming in from Obsidian doesn't really have a lot of dive comp. I mean, yes, they do have the Ragnarok coming in from the Olaf to potentially be able to get themselves into a good position. A lot of damage, actually, though, coming through with those bouncing bombs, with the minefield coming through from the Ziggs. It's now going to be up to them to potentially be able to get the Dragon. We got 4 members of the blue team coming in, and it is going to end up being the Olaf being able to get the smite, but it does look like there's a great glacial fissure to come through. Going to try to get the knockup, trying to separate the waters, but it's not going to be enough. Camille coming through, going to be able to get the Hextech Ultimatum onto the Cinch, and that will do it. Really beautiful performance coming in from the blue team. It was looking like Seven Sins was going to be able to disengage, but that glacial fissure trying to potentially go for a disengage mechanic, not really getting a lot of knockup there. You then see the Jarvan moving in, trying to be able to get the smite. He's in, caught in the Cataclysm all on his own, not going to be able to get out of that one, and now everyone is just dropping like flies early in this game. Really great performance coming in from Obsidian.
Yeah, you know, I think the key here is, and this is something that was in the back of my mind with the draft, is when you've got the one thing that Olaf and Camille can do is they can chase people down super effectively. They got the slows, you've got the hook shot, Camille has a slow as well, and Olaf has the Ragnarok, so something like a gold card, like a Braum stun does not matter. So the turn off of the Dragon is so effective there for Obsidian, and I love to see that. And I feel like this might could have gone either way. A lot of times you look back at those, you say, hey, didn't steal it, but I mean, they're both sitting there in the pit. Who knows who's going to get it? Fortunate for Obsidian that they did, but the fight certainly well played by them. They get them a huge lead early on here. I think they're in an excellent position right now, and with their scaling being really good, they have to be feeling great right now.
Exactly. I mean, I wasn't even able to talk about what I was talking about for Lucian. Like, I mean, that's going to be now just going to be even harder for him to be able to actually scale forward and get that early damage coming through. He does pick up the Blade of the Ruined King, item 1, so he does have a little bit of healing coming through, a little bit of extra percentage health damage coming in against the Olaf, especially once he uses the Ragnarok. But, you know, Infinity Edge already on a line. That is a big ticket item coming in as we get another team fight coming through. Glacial Fissure is going to land. That's so much damage onto the Olaf, but he has Ragnarok to keep him alive. He's able to pick up one. Lucian's going to be able to get the Olaf, but it's going to be Jinx picking up the Cinch, trying to be able to continue to keep up the momentum. A lot of damage already onto Jarvan. Jarvan's going to have that Guardian Angel ready to go, but it's not going to be enough. He will end up going down, and it's a blue team double kill and a killing spree coming in from the Jinx. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's... oh,
so close, so close. 1 HP Ziggs there.
That was so mean to see. Major Pain really bringing it home and showing us why he's named so. That's he can dish out the pain, but apparently he can survive it as well. Great barrier, great use of his abilities to be able to disengage, and really, really nicely done.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I saw there's like one of those fights where initially it looked like Seven Sins had the angle there. So Lucio almost takes down Major Pain. The Ziggs jumps out of the way. I forget if he was flashed or just, I think he just satchel charged out of the end of that fight. Was barely able to get away. The gold card even came in onto the Jinx, but I think that's the thing about having this range advantage when you've got Jinx Ziggs is they can play a little bit farther back, so they're not so much threatened. It wasn't until the very end of the fight that I think Armandito came in. He got to throw the Ziggs in, and it wasn't enough. But here we go. We might have a fight. And wow. Okay. Well, that was just immediately cleaned up there by Obsidian. So really just chasing him down. And I talked about the chase down previously, but I think the Jinx passive is another aspect of that. I think that's one thing that this team does really well. Like it's something that requires you to get ahead, but obviously they've already done that. As we get a chance to see the replay here, I mean, it's pretty simple chase down. The gold card goes down to the Olaf. That's not really who you want. He's got the Ragnarok. The nice about the Cataclysm is it counters that a little bit, but not if the Jarvan just gets melted immediately. The Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't even hit there, but you can see the chase down coming through. The Lulu speed onto the Jinx plus the Jinx passive speed is just absolutely crazy when you combine all that together. It's one of those things where if you're down against that, you're getting chased down against that, there's almost nothing you can do. I think they've got to look for a way to take down the Jinx. That's probably the key. But the worry here is you got an Olaf that's 5-1-5 that has a Guardian Angel, and you really cannot leave him alone. I think one problem, yeah, you look at 7sin's comp here, outside of the, I mean, the Olaf is immune to CC, so you can't peel him. So what do you do when he's the target, and then Jinx, you also have to take care of the Jinx. There's just so much damage right now. Really tough position for 7sin's.
It is a probably an I want to say unwinnable, but I mean I'm also pragmatic in the situation here. It's very difficult, I feel, for 7sin's to be able to come back from this situation. They need to try to find picks. They need to try to find a situation where they could potentially get the Jinx, or maybe even just find the Lulu all on their own. Try and just go in for those wards. Yes, it is going to be Obsidian pushing up a little bit more, so he does have maybe that potential to be able to find an out-of-place player on Obsidian. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the big issue that we've got here in 7sin's is not only the gold advantage. I mean, it is a 13, almost 14,000 gold advantage right now for Obsidian moving into the 10-minute mark. Ripped Herald gonna get summoned, which they got in that last team fight. And now they're just moving forward. They don't even need to move any further as we get the Guardian Angel procced. Ragnarok is ready, but it's gonna be the Guardian Angel that ends up getting taken away there. It does end up being, you know, a lot of damage coming in. Guardian Angel's gonna get popped from both teams as Shelly comes through and picks up the tower one in the mid lane. But I mean, that's going to be the big issue here, I feel, for the red team moving forward. Look at all the damage. Look at how big Ragnarok does to be able to stop the slow coming in from anyone on the red team. Singe loses his Guardian Angel, or sorry, not Singe, but Jarvan loses his Guardian Angel almost immediately. And even, you know, with Olaf being so less tanky, when he pops that Ragnarok, pops that ultimate, and loses those resistances, he still deals a ton of damage. Trinity Force, Guardian Angel already online. That is deadly as we get even more damage coming through in the mid lane. I can't even talk about it. It's just way too much action. Obsidian staying in control.
That's crazy. Juice on the Lulu forced the flash out of Payro on the TF. You do not want to see that as a 7sin's fan right now. You can see Jinx, oh boy, I don't know the exact pronunciation here. Isirboa, I'm going to go with. Freely able to just step up here, almost as much as the Olaf Wengi is, because, oh no, this is Mega Death. Oh, and down goes the BRAWL. Man, it feels bad for Why Not.
Oh no, that's so sad. I hate it. I hate to see it, but I mean, when you've got such a big advantage, when they say, you know, you're smacking down the wallet, they're doing it right now. It's the gold bars being slammed down. Look at just the immediate damage. A great use of the ice shield. I forget the actual name of the ability. It's the ice shield for me. But he goes in and he actually blocks the damage coming in from the Super Mega Death Rocket, but he can't stop the AoE bomb that Ziggs is able to drop. And even though he's at the corner of it, he's at 1 HP. He ends up dying immediately. But I mean, things just continue to move forward here for Obsidian. They're going to be able to get another turret down in the top lane. That's all inner turrets now down. Dragon is spawning in 2 seconds. It's going to be the third Drake of the game. That Ocean Drake is now alive, along with Baron at the 12:30 mark. Destiny's going to get popped, I think, just trying to see where everyone is at. It does look like we are going to get teleport bottom lane, wanting to be able to go in on this. is. What are you doing? You're not going to be able
Oh,
to stop
no.
it. And it's going to end up being Ragnarok getting popped from Wengi immediately to take away Pero. And I mean, that's a desperation play. That's like, hey, I can do this. I can actually bring this game back. I can actually be the hero. But no, you're just a 0 when you're up against a champion that's able to deny CC.
Yeah, you can see Payro here. I mean, yeah, looking for some kind of hero play, but you got Ghost, not Smite Payro. I mean, even looking for like a Miracle Dragon Steel or something there. Yeah, it's not going to happen. That's TF versus Olaf. It does not feel great. And I was actually thinking, you know, what was echoing in my brain earlier on was looking at Payro, wanted to use that Destiny effectively during this game to work in the side lanes, and we didn't really see it. And I was just thinking that as the Destiny's into the Drake pit. I think, unfortunately, not when and where you want to use it, sadly. But hey, you got to try something. They're down 22,000 gold. I don't want to rag on 7sins too much here. I mean, they got to try some kind of crazy plays at this point. It's very difficult to see a path back in. I do have my eyes on Osoloco potentially getting a Smite Steal, maybe on a Baron or something like that if the opportunity presents itself. But it's tough to see a route back in here. You just got to keep fighting and looking for something.
I mean, no. When everyone's got diamond hands, when you're flashing away from the support, and you've got a really hyper scaling champion already with 4 items on the Jinx, I mean, this game is over. Like, I mean, I don't want to give false hope. That Baron was shredded. Not even going to get a chance to do anything. Just gonna get melted there by the Obsidian team. But I mean, the big thing here, as the blue team pushes forward, oh my god, that's nasty. That's nasty damage, and that's the 4-item Jinx just absolutely shredding away any defenses that they've got. The Mega Death Rocket's gonna take 3. I'm sorry, the Inferno Ball's gonna take 3. The Guardian Angel's gonna get popped, but it's not gonna be enough, and the red team just gonna steamroll their way into their first win of the bracket. The American Wild Rift MGA tournament is now underway. Obsidian is gonna walk away with a win. Look at the damage. You just can't do anything about it. That's so much damage, and it's actually going to be Olaf taking the double kill there. But, I mean, at that point, it doesn't really matter. The lead is there. The advantage is there, and it's going to end up being Obsidian moving forward in the bracket, looking to still keep their chances of a good tournament alive. Unfortunately for 7sins, they're going to have to go repent for their sins in this game, trying to be able to get themselves a victory here today. It just did not work out. My personal thought is, you know, I feel like 7sins tried to initiate some fights that they shouldn't have. That first dragon really comes to mind. They were never in a position to really try to get that one, and at that point, the snowball was already there.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because early on, I was kind of looking at Osoloco as really looking for stuff. He was looking bot initially, got stopped by the Chompers. He looked top. I don't think we saw that, but I think Duel just hook-shot it away and got out of there. So, I mean, credit to Osoloco for looking for that stuff, but they have to find it. I mean, you can keep firing, but you have to hit some of those shots. Unfortunately, the Jarvan TF combo should have been something where they can make something. I mean, probably bot. I don't know that you want to, you know, try to gank for the Singe necessarily, but unfortunately, they really were not able to make that one happen. Certainly credit to the whole of Obsidian. I think it was just insane. I was watching those fights, and you said it. The amount of damage coming out of Wengi on the Olaf was unreal. And when he has the Lulu shielding him, speeding up, we saw the wild growth on the Olaf. Every single fight was just absolutely crazy. Just this giant, crazy Viking with the Guardian Angel, with the axes, just screaming, running at you. I mean, it's absolute insanity. Out of some kind of, I don't know, Norse-themed horror movie, something like that. I can see it. Like the monster stalking them is just this giant, crazy Viking. But insane performance from the whole of Obsidian. An insanely clean game from them.
I wanna shout out. I mean, you know, Boa, Wengi, and Major Pain were all above 10,000 damage when no member of 7sins was even close. The highest damage dealer was, I believe, at like 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 or 8.7 coming in from Pero. Or that's gold. Pardon me. I'm losing it. It's too early for me. No, I'm kidding. But no one above 10,000 damage coming in from Sin. It just it just wasn't ever going to be in the cards, unfortunately. And it ends up being, Obsidian being able to win this first game. And that's a good start. I mean, they were dominant. Like, this was a really good game for them from start to finish. I think no one can disagree. They had the control of the early game, and then they just were able to snowball into a really good position. But at the end of the day, we're going to see them move forward, but we've still got plenty of games left to play. Looks like we're going to get Celestials versus God's Plan in just a moment, but I believe we're going to take a quick break before that begins.
Yes, yes, we'll be right back with Celestials versus God's Plan. Don't go anywhere. And we are back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our coverage of the Copa America Wild Rift. Hopefully, you can hear me. I'm having some slight visual bug here where it's not showing me if I'm muted or unmuted. I know Moose can hear me. So, yes, welcome back, everybody. And we're going to be jumping into Celestial versus. Now I forget. Oh, we got a bracket, actually. Let's bring that up for everybody here. Celestial versus God's Plan, I believe. Yes. Yeah, should be a pretty cool one. I'm certainly eager to see. I think we've had a meta sort of develop in the tournament. I mean, one interesting thing is, when we watch North America, Latin America North versus Latin America South and Brazil, I feel like we actually see some rather different games and a little bit of a different meta as well. And so I think that's something that's pretty interesting to see, is that there's certain picks that do come through in certain in one bracket and they don't come through in the other. So I'm also curious if these teams are watching some of the games, maybe taking something, potentially scrimming some of these teams as well. If some of that stuff travels through, it certainly seems like the Lucian is something that repeatedly has been coming through since his release. We have seen the Senna, I think, just once on stream to not great success. I think she's been doing okay in solo queues. I don't know. Some teams want to try to make it work. I'm curious if it is Seraphine, especially in the first 2 days of the tournament. The Seraphine coming through was a huge pick here. So we'll jump back to our desk here. So I think that's something we'd see, like a Seraphine Braum with something like a Kaisa, or I think you could slot the Jinx in there as well, certainly. So there's some different comps that I'm really eager to see how they play out and which direction these teams want to go in. I thought it was really interesting to see what Obsidian did last game, where they just kind of went this, what I would just call a chase down comp, just because that's how it played out, but it was so effective at that. But Celestials versus God's Plan, we already have some bans coming through: Gragas, Galio, Camille, and Wukong. So a lot of engage taken off the table by both teams. Should be an interesting one. We should be getting into draft here just about a minute, give or take.
A lot of engage going to be taken away here in the bracket. Wanting to be wanting to be able to get themselves this victory here today, but denying, a lot of those potential abilities. We saw Camille be played in that last game. I'm not sure if it was the main factor that gave Obsidian the victory, but I mean, obviously Camille is an extremely strong champion here in Wild Rift, has the ability to displace, and not only that, but keep somebody in their place as well. And so taking that away, Wukong is extremely strong. That Cyclone being able to get the multi-man knockup not once, but twice in games is huge. And then obviously, I mean, Gragas and Galio You guys know them from League of Legends. They have the same power here in Wild Rift. Just gonna have to, be a little bit more powerful, a little bit more, timing wise with those abilities, making sure that you get the knockup or the displacement correctly. However, with those bans being though the bans that they are, it does mean that we do have a couple of really high tier picks still available for both teams to pick up. The Ziggs is online. You've got the Lucian still available, so we could see a Lucian Braum coming through. I think Lucian's going to be like a really good top tier pick. Garen could potentially be online if they want to go for a maybe stable bot lane. But we're going to start things off. It does look like we are going to be getting some support role maybe. Getting picked for the first champion. I don't know about it though, but Leona. I love Leona. I love me some Leona. Or is that Leona? That looks like Leona.
It is Leona, yeah. The new portrait and everything. Nice portrait.
I'm losing my cool here a little bit because I'm looking at that pic and I'm like, dang, that's nice. But yeah, Leona's gonna be picked up first. Celestial's making the decision to go for a support champion first. Gonna give up the Fiora and the Ziggs because of it. I've never been a fan of picking up your support first pick, just because you're allowing your other team to be able to pick up two really strong champions in exchange, and they're gonna immediately go for it. Pulling the trigger on both Fiora and Ziggs. That's huge. That's a huge pickup there for God's Plan moving into this early one. Wow, Rengar and Twisted Fate coming through. Okay, this draft is just I don't know what's going on in this draft anymore.
I saw the Draven. Vayne would be lovely. Come on, let's keep it going. I want to see some more of these. This is just crazy. Okay, I think the Lucian is probably a bit more likely, but wow. Leona and Rengar coming through is just insane. I'm with you 100% there, Moose. Is the Leona first pick is surprising to me. I like Leona as a champion, but first picking the support blind is pretty interesting. I guess the one advantage it gives them is they get a little bit more information. They get to see the Ziggs and the Fiora. Now the question is, what do they want to take into the Fiora, their top side? With a number of these champions banned away, no Camille available, no Wukong or Gragas, potentially some of these champions that could move around jungle. So they are going to go with the Renekton. So another champion relatively new to Wild Rift. I really like this one as well. I've only gotten to see some Renekton in competitive to this point, but I do think that he can have a really nice impact, and I like that into the Fiora. Just looking for something that does have the capability to exert a lot of pressure there. But this is a very interesting comp, and when you look at what they want to do, I think they just want to get ahead. Huge amount of physical damage is the first thing that jumps out to me. There's some flexibility with the itemization there, but I'm really curious. Yeah, looking at this, Olaf Braum, okay, it's a decent front line. We'll see how the itemization comes through, but certainly I think, again, just like in the last game, when I look at Rengar, TF, Kai'Sa, Renekton, this feels like something that Celestial will want to get ahead early, pretty quickly there. Meanwhile, now you have a Corki paired with the Ziggs versus the Jinx paired with the Ziggs last time. That's a lot of range and a lot of poke and a lot of really good scaling coming through here from God's Plan. So see if that works out for them. Seeing the Olaf once again, I think there is still going to be that potential for some kind of chase down, and there are a pretty good number of champions, I think, that can stack that Braum passive effectively. So I'm eager to see how that works out here for God's Plan. Should be a good one as we load into the Rift.
I think that Celestials is trying to be able to maybe kind of spread their wings a little bit, show that they are a team to beat here in this tournament. I'm not necessarily happy with this draft. I think that, they could have drafted a little bit better. God's Plan gets an amazing lineup coming through. You've got Olaf that's going to be able to deny the stunning potential coming in from your Renekton, from your Leona, from your Twisted Fate. Rengar is a really tough champion to have to play. It's very feast or famine here in the early game, and has to be able to get themselves that early advantages if they want to be able to perform well. And then you've got, a really high engaged champion with that Leona. If you lose out in the early game and you're not able to get yourself that early advantages, Leona is going to be extremely scary to have to deal with. or extremely scary to try to engage upon because you don't have any follow-up damage. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of, I think, a lot of interactions coming through from the blue team in the early game, trying to be able to get themselves those early advantages. And already they're going to be denied God's plan, making a decision to go for the blue buff, trying to be able to make sure that we get a little bit less of an advantage for Cat Kid, trying to be able to deny those early advantages. But now it does look like we're going to get our first fight coming through. A big of a scuffle coming in as we get a lot of damage on to not only Cat Kid, but then also Die on the Twisted Fate is trying to be able to defend, going to be able to do so for the time being, but no one's going to take the blue buff. This is huge for God's plan because it's going to mean that it's going to be a 3-buff start here for the Olaf Jaguar, having a really strong first part of this game.
Yeah, we see the replay there. It did force the flash out of Lost Boy, but it's a nice start for him for sure, as he said. And now potentially, Leone's just returning bot, but there are a lot of repeated things there in the topside river. Looks like the early push. So I did see it. Proxer actually went to level 2. I believe he got the blue buff. I didn't catch a brief part of that, but he actually started off level 2 in this lane, so that's pretty nice for the Renekton. I think overall it's a nice start for Celestial. Still very early on. I think I'm definitely curious to see how the Corki Brawl bot lane is going to work out. I'm totally fine with that. I think Corki, despite man, there was a joke. Team Gut Corki was a competitive team that we saw repeatedly in I believe it was just North American tournaments as well, that Corki was just crazy OP. I think he's still fairly good, and I'm happy to see this champion coming through. A lot of times, I imagine a lot of competitive Wild Rift players have practiced the Corki from the time when he was like must pick, must ban. So you always have that comfort to fall back on. So I can see that, although we could have some action here. Ultimate pop by the Rengar.
Okay, On the Hunt is now ready to go, trying to be able to get themselves something in. It's going to be a lot of damage and might be first blood. It will end up being first blood coming through. Crazy Cat Kid immediately getting that ultimate and immediately taking on the Ziggs, obliterating him in the mid lane, starting off the bloodshed.
Absolutely capitalizing on that skirmish from earlier. They blew the flash on the Ziggs. He's only got the satchel charge to get away. It's perfect. They jump in when the flash is maybe 30 seconds away from coming back. They capitalize on that. They get that kill for the Rengar, which is exactly what he wants. And yeah, I mean, I didn't see exactly the wave manipulation, but I'm going to credit Osu. I'm gonna guess Os like the game as well for just setting that one up for the Ziggs as well, making sure he was pushed out a little bit. But honestly, I mean, he was almost under his tower at the end. It just did not matter. So nice first blood there by Celestial. See what else they can do here. Drake 20 seconds away, potentially a target. For the Olaf, he's going to be the first one in the area.
You know, Vest, you brought up a really great point that I think we need to capitalize on, because I think it just shows Celestial's skill. They knew that Gloxy was able, or did not have flash for that engagement, and so I mean that was an easy gank, and I think that that's something that we need to really talk about here from, you know, Celestials, recognizing that potential, as it does look like it is going to be the dragon now spawning. Mountain Drake is there. I thought that something happened. I thought that maybe someone took the dragon or something, and I was a little scared for a second because I saw the red. I was like, did the red team take the dragon that quickly? Is that going to happen? But no, speaking of awareness, we do have the blue team now ready to go. Oh my goodness, the damage coming through. It's going to be Cat Kid trying to be able to get away. The Glacial Fish is going to try to separate the blue team, but it's not going to be enough. It will end up being Kaisa going down, and now they're looking to be able to continue to keep it going. The Destiny is now available, and it's going to end up being the teleport coming in from the Renekton, and trying to be able to finish the job. Going to try to get what he can out of this one. Osu trying to be able to get the kill, maybe onto the Fiora, and will be able to make that go down as well. We've got several members of both teams dying, making it a 2-for-2. No one gets the dragon, everything getting popped. What a fight.
Man, really well played by Os here. I have to shout out. It's so hard when you've got an Olaf and a Braum in your face here. He doesn't even care. He's looking exactly at who's dealing the damage, and so is the Renekton as well. Proxer and Osu played this well, and they turned what looked like a complete disaster into an even fight right now. I think potentially something they even could have won. I mean, God's Plan had to get out of there. I thought that was completely over. I saw the Olaf chasing down, thought of last game. Could be happening again, though. Here we go.
Uh-oh, Jaguar going to be in a bad spot, trying to be able to get the stun, and will end up having to get out of that one. He does have Ragnarok ready to go, but now he's down to about 200 HP. Now the Dragon is going to get started from Celestials, trying to be able to get this kill early on. We're going to get the rockets coming through into the Death Bomb, but it's not going to be enough. Really great timing coming in from Gloxy King, but just barely going to miss out. The smite coming through from Cat Kid will secure the first Dragon of the game over to Celestials.
Yeah, nicely played by them. I think a lot of times I like to see teams establish a little bit more control, zone people away. I mean, the Ziggs bomb is something you can't really deal with, but Gassimio was just sitting there firing missiles into the Drake pit. Fortunately for Celestials, he wound up just leashing it for them, but that could be a little bit spooky when you're letting everyone just come in and fire away at you and the Drake while you're taking it. Winds up working out for Celestials, though, and they're starting to build up a nice little lead here. They're even going to get the Rift Herald, which is really nice. So I think staying on the map quite a while here, or just really nice recall timings to be able to do that. They're kind of getting everything they want in the map right now, which is exactly what this team needs. So scary when you're dealing with things like a Rengar that's ahead, a Renekton that's ahead. This team has so much speed and ability to close, but now opposite happening to them. Procs are 1v3. And looks like nothing's going to come of that. Okay, sorry, Moose. I baited you there. I thought potentially maybe a tower dive or something like that, but always got to be careful of that. Those Renektons.
You're all good, man. You know, I looked at it and I was like, you know, maybe they're going to try to go for it, but at the end of the day, no, just deciding to go for just the defense. Destiny was procced. Coming in from Osu, which I think was a really good play, like just being able to recognize where everyone was at. You know, if it was like a 5v1, then they say, hey, you know, we push forward towards top lane and we get that taken care of, which they end up doing. So really, really good performance coming in. I feel like coming in from the blue team, that was a great Destiny coming in from Osu, and Proxer gonna be just fine. You know, he pops the Dominus and he's able to get back under tower, and there's not a lot of CC that is really going to be able to keep him locked down. Toxie has no CC. Gloxy King might have the slowing field from the mines, might have the satchel charge to be able to get a displacement, but those are really, really circumstantial CC situations. Slow maybe from Jaguar, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you're a tanky little alligator, you just go right under turret and you're just fine. So a nice play there. It's going to mean that Celestials does pick up the first tower of the game in the top lane with the Rift Herald that they were able to get. Item-wise, looking at some things here being taken from both teams. Itemization, a little bit interesting here, coming in from Hydawaz. I'm assuming has his name, picking up the Executioner's Calling. Now does have the Infinity Edge, just picked that up in his last back. But has the Executioner's Calling going to deny healing potentially for not only Toxie with his ultimate, but then also for Jaguar as well. I love the pickup. A little bit of a pit stop, but at the end of the day, going to be hopefully paying dividends. And I'm not even going to be able to stop talking. We get Destiny coming through in the bottom lane. We are going to get the Valkyrie coming in to be able to keep the Sikorsky alive, but the Ragnarok is coming through. All the damage, and finally, we're going to end up seeing Crazy Cat Kid picking up a kill on it to Jaguar. Glossy's going to go down as well. The Glacial Fissure trying to come in, but it's not going to be enough. Lost Boy Tommy going to pick up the kill.
Man.
The flash is going to come through, and it's going to end up being 4 kills for Celestials. All right, I'm going to let you talk now, Vest, because that was a long time.
Yeah, man, you're carrying there, fighting through all of that. That is a slog of fight, and so many low health bars on the side of Celestials. They're playing around this so well, and this is just such an aggressive dive. You watch the Rengar here. He doesn't actually kill the Corki, but he just randomly finds himself an Olaf. He gets over to the bush and jumps back onto him. Just crazy. And that's, you know, this Rengar getting so ahead early. You can see he's now almost 2,000 ahead of Jaguar. That's the damage coming through with the Duskblade, with the extra Dirk, and I don't think he had the Warhammer in that fight, but the amount of damage coming from the Rengar with the passive as well is just crazy. They're able to just dive the Zig, something I joked about earlier. They just walk under turret, they dive the Zigs, they dive the Corki, and while the Rengar wasn't able to kill everybody right away, he did so much damage. Now he's looking again, potentially. But I was going to say the chase down of this team as well is just crazy when you've got the Kaisa able to join in on that. As long as Rengar hits a Bola or Kaisa at least hits some kind of plasma, the big thing is the Leona or the Renekton setting that one up. And the Destiny from Ovis, I didn't see if he used that fight, but he's been really on point with his gold cards. I trust he was on point with them in that fight as well. That really explodes the game here for Celestials. They're up 8,000 gold now. very, very difficult for GP now to do anything. They do have some nice scaling that I like, but I think at this point, it's so hard to deal with this Rengar. He's just the one that's starting these fights, and once he starts it, you have to fight your way through a Renekton and a Leona. These fights are just so chaotic, so difficult to navigate.
And you know, you bring up a really good point there, Vest, about, you know, the scaling that potentially God's Plan has. You know, their early game potential, the potential for them to get into that snowbally situation for them to scale up, I feel like that's over. Like there's, like they messed up early game, and so now they've got to wait until the way late game. So we see several items on Glossy, several items on Gloxy King. Glossy and Gloxy, it's just too much, and we're gonna get a solar flare. What a beautiful solar flare coming in from Lost Boy, trying to be able to get away. Will deny the death from himself. Is gonna be able to avoid the Super Mega Death Rocket. Oh my gosh, that card almost hits Ignason, but not gonna be able to do so. Milo's gonna be a little bit out of position, but will be just fine. And now we're gonna get the Rocket Barrage trying to come through from Gloxy, or from Glossy. Gossy, it's just too much. There's just so many different names. I'm so sorry. God's Plan with Gossy Mio and Gloxy King. Only one death, but a lot of damage.
Yeah, and now they're gonna, I think Jaguar's gotta be pretty careful here. He does not have the Ragnarok. He's gonna have it in a second. Okay, all right. We're fine there, but just an insane amount of damage coming through once again, and amazing that Iguasan actually made it out of there. Again, with just the flashing red HP bar, he slinks back. I, as well, thought the card was gonna hit. Valkyrie is available now for Gassimio, or the package, rather. The special delivery is available, which could be a big thing, but yeah, you're right. I think one thing I was thinking about is the Olaf. People like to hate on Olaf for the scaling. If Olaf is ahead, he can still do okay. He still does a pretty sizable amount of damage late game. It's not amazing. The real problem, I think, with Olaf scaling is when he's behind. That's exactly what we're dealing with right now. He's got the Death Stance, doesn't have the Guardian Angel. A lot of times when you're ahead as Olaf, you can itemize into a Guardian Angel. So even if you start to fall off a little bit, you can dive in, disrupt, and then you die, and you just come right back, and that's fine. But being behind, it becomes so much more difficult, and the itemization, too, becomes so much more difficult. Because you look, I talked about in drafts, very hesitant, and Baron... Okay, well, Baron goes the way of Celestials without any contest. Now we're gonna have a fight.
Uh-oh, it's gonna be Iguasan trying to be able to get away from this one. Will be able to use his third ability to be able to get away, and will be just fine. But like you said, Baron is going to be taken, and that might just be the death sentence. We got Toxie trying to go into the bottom lane, trying to be able to get this tower 1 in the bottom lane taken care of, and will be able to do so. But what do they lose in exchange? Gloxy on the Ziggs does have a lot of defensive pressure to be able to deny potentially those pushes. But with Baron now up, and we got 3 members of Celestials, now 4, moving towards this tower 2, they should be able to get it. Redemption going to be able to get that extra health coming in, and they will be able to get tower 2 in the mid lane going down. We got Proxer in the bottom lane. He does have, I believe, TP ready to go. He does, so if they do see a fight, they could use it. But now tower 2 in the top lane going to be looking to potentially be taken care of as well. The damage and the health bars are now being really low, and it does look like that tower 2 is going to go down. It looks like maybe Crazy Cat King trying to find a kill onto anybody. Nope, just whirling around, trying to get that good damage. Sneaky sneak, sneaky sneak.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna find anyone. Oh, you know he wanted to go for it. But no, he's just gonna wait. And it's gonna be all 3 inner towers going down. And now the Drake is spawning Celestials in a great position.
Yeah, so much pressure in all 3 lanes coming through on God's Plan right now. They're down so much gold. And the siege is immaculate. Okay, Flash was forced out there out of... Oh, boy. Hideaus? Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. The Kaisa.
I like that actually. I like that. It could be a play on words. It could be hideous.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe.
I like it. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. But you know, I have to ask some of these players. I always feel so bad. You know, I see some of these exotic names, and I'm always saying them incorrectly. I don't know what it is. I don't have the pronunciation right for some of these players, and so I do apologize, but at the end of the day, it is still going to end up being that Flash being taken care of. I mean, that is a small price to pay. Not only do they pick up the dragon, that is second dragon of the game going towards Celestials, but now it's going to end up being Toxie. Going to take a lot of damage, but will be just fine. Nicely done, though. Celestials now in a 15,000 gold lead.
Yeah, you can see some of the armor coming through. The chain vest picked up there by Toxissimo should be itemizing into a death stance, I believe. So that is pretty effective here. You got Crazy Cat Kid, you got Proxer, you got Hideows, all doing 80 damage. I mean, even the Twisted Fate is auto-attacking a lot, so having something, just something that mitigates the auto-attacks a little bit is going to have a little bit of value there. The problem is when you're just behind this much, and wow, Hideows, he just walks right in. Here we go.
Uh-oh, Ignosong trying to be able to get away, but won't be able to. There's a nice route. The Zenith Blade going to seal Fate coming in from the Braum. Not going to be able to get away from that one. I want to point out that bouncing bomb did absolutely nothing to Lost Boy's health. That is a problem if you are the blue or the red team. And just look at how quickly Ignisong tries to get away and won't be able to. There's no follow-up. There's no way for him to be able to respond. And now it's going to be 23 seconds before we end up getting something. Glossy immediately going to go down. Is going to pop his Zonias to be able to get away. But it is going to be a lot of damage coming in from Osu as well. Going to pop a lot of damage onto not only Glossy, but also Gloxy as well. And so now everyone is low health on the red team. Renekton trying to be able to get the stun. Ragnarok is going to get popped, but even then, the cards are flying and the damage has been dealt. Baron is alive. The blue team will potentially try to go for it. Celestials now looking to be able to finish the job with it. Proxer waiting in the brush. Toxie in the area, but not going to be able to go for anything just yet. Baron has been, I believe, thought about but not started.
Oh, man.
Going to be a lot of damage onto Ingwa-san, trying to be able to get away. Destiny's going to get used to potentially go in, and he's going to go straight for it. Going to get knocked up in the Glacial Fissure, but it's not going to be enough. Proxer now looking to be able to get the kill onto a golden Glossy, and will be able to get that kill to go down as well. That is 3 members of God's Plan now dying. Toxie going to die as well, and now Celestial's going to pick up the Baron and should be able to push forward into a victory here in this game.
Yeah, so there's 2 fights going on simultaneously here. We see in this replay. Guardian Angel was actually popped. Toxissimo is just 1v1ing the Rengar here on the left side off your screen right now. Meanwhile, we have going in all the way. I mean, it's just insane. This is the problem. When the Kai'Sa is so ahead that she can just Killer Instinct right onto an Olaf and just does not care, that's when you know you're in trouble. So, I mean, an absolute disaster here right now. And I think another problem is, as Toxissimo, I think when you are in these team fights, I mean, ideally you want to be split pushing, but if you are in these team fights, I think you generally want to be ulting the Renekton or somebody that's diving in the middle of the enemy team. I think when he's off in this 1v1 against Crazy Cat Kid and unfortunately losing it, it's just very bad. It's a gold card coming in.
Ooh, a lot of damage already, but no golden. Going to be taken away from Gloxy. Still has that available. Oh, those damage from those wild cards coming through. Going to be able to get Gloxy down to about half HP. Baron is still online. Top lane is going to be able to push forward with about half HP on the mid tower and the top tower and the bottom tower as well. The siege is there. Grand Challenge actually going to get procced by Toxie, and he's not going to be able to do anything with it. Guardian Angel is online for Proxer as the middle lane inhibitor goes down. Ragnarok is going to get used with the Super Mega Death Rocket, dealing no damage to the Lost Boy top yet again. As it does look like we are going to be seeing the tower in the top lane going down. The blue or the yellow card's gonna land, and there it is. Toxie Neo going to go down, and now it is a power play for Celestials to end this game. They don't even need Crazy Cat Kid. He's going and getting the dragon, and will be able to pick that one up. It looks like the Elder Ocean Drake is now theirs, but it's not going to do much of anything. The pack is trying to drop it. It's not going to be enough. It's going to be the Forky going down, and Celestials with a dominant win here in this game. Moving forward in the loser's bracket, it was not in God's plan for them to win this game. And, you know, I was saying it earlier in the draft, you know, Celestials was up against Tribe. They lost to Tribe, and this was a real testament to show how good of a team they are. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of Celestials moving forward throughout the Rift, because they played off-meta picks, they played scary, really interesting dynamic matchups, and they were still able to take a win up against God's Plan's team that was looking extremely strong in the draft, but they weren't able to execute.
Yeah, I think this is another case where, you know, these teams, I love to see it when they do go ahead and they pick champions that maybe are surprising, but maybe they're comfortable with, and champions that I feel really have to get ahead and are perfect for that. You know, they go with the Rengar, even the Twisted Fate, I feel like is a facilitator for champions like the Rengar that want to get ahead, for champions like the Renekton that want to get some kills, get some leads in the side lanes there, they pick all this, and to me it says we're aggressive and we're good and we're just going to outplay and get the lead so that you're just not able to play. Because we talk about, you know, some decent scaling coming through, just did not matter. And wow, I know I was giving Oates some shout outs in the game there for some key plays, but the damage charts really show that he was taking it to another level there. I mean, the wild card damage coming through as well. So many gold cards on point, and it's difficult to do that when you think you have to walk past the Braum and the Olaf to find the gold card, the key targets. It's not as easy as you would think. I certainly would have some difficulties with it at least. So certainly shout out to him. I believe he was the MVP as well. Great performance from him and the whole of Celestials.
Yeah, he was the MVP, and you know, I wanna take a little bit of my I was kind of bagging on Gloxy King on the Ziggs there in the in the game. I was looking at those bouncing bombs, looking at those mega Inferno bombs coming in onto the Leona. Leona was just tanking them and taking no damage. But it was Gloxy that actually had the most damage on God's Plan. So, you know, having that ability to be able to use that effectively, being able to get that extra ticking damage coming in with the Leandri's Anguish and the Luden's Echo, like, you know, he was 1-4-1, but, you know, he was keeping up damage-wise with Osu and Hideous throughout the game. But at the end of the day, you know, it's going to be Celestials just dominant in the team fights, in the game, having some really great dives that were able to get themselves several members going through, and the macro ability, knowing when neutral objectives were spawning, knowing what they had to do in order to get them to be taken, recognizing where players were at on the map, and then reacting accordingly, responding accordingly to it. Celestials just played a phenomenal game, everyone performing exceptionally well. I don't think, you know, there was really any situation where God's Plan was ever really in the lead. The only real good thing that I saw them do was being able to take or at least be able to pressure that blue buff in the early game. But at the end of the day, you know, really nicely done coming in from Celestials. They're going to move into, I believe, losers round 3 moving forward with this victory, and they're going to be up against the victor of the other or the losers round 2 match between Lookforward and Obsidian, which should be a fun matchup for sure. But it does look like we are about ready to take a quick break. Any final thoughts there, Vestburger?
No, I don't think so. I think you summed it up pretty well. We'll double check and see which game we've got for you. I think we should still have 2, possibly 3 more games for you. We'll get some more information to you on that as soon as we have it as far as the next game we'll be looking at. But yes, you have the bracket on your screen. Of course, this is not updated. This is from the start of the day. So we did already see Obsidian triumph over 7 Sins, and we just saw Celestials beat God's Plan very convincingly. I think this is something I like to see, and you kind of pointed it out, these teams kind of having their own individual styles and being willing to play that. Early on in the tournament, it did feel like some of these teams, especially in the best of 1 setting, were saying like, let's be safe. Let's play like front back, Seraphine, Braum. Let's just stand back, fight safely. I'd love to see now that backs against the wall here in the lower bracket, these teams will pick things like the Rengar, like the Ilona, and first pick it, no less. Blind pick those. I believe, yeah, both of those were blind. And having the confidence to do that, knowing that if it doesn't work out, the tournament is over for you. But if it does, you'll look awesome, and Celestials did.
And it was a ton of fun. It's always great to see. Always really cool to be able to get your champions that you maybe are comfortable with, maybe champions that you enjoy just playing, regardless of that. You know, a good win for them, going to move forward into the bracket. But at the end of the day, like, you know, there's still a lot of games left to play. And, you know, something like the Rengar Leona blind pick is not going to fly when you get into losers round 4. Mayhem is an extremely strong team. And, you know, with Celestials being able to get themselves into losers round 3, you know, 7 Sins was playing phenomenally well in that game before. I haven't seen Lookforward play. Maybe I don't remember seeing them play last weekend, but they might have. And again, you know, I apologize if I didn't see that matchup, but regardless, you know, being able to get these wins, either team, they're going to have to go up against Mayhem. And we're not even talking about the losers bracket, like, or the other part of the losers bracket. We got Estral Esports coming through, Infinity, another team with some really strong players on their matchup ready to go as well. But yeah, going to be a really strong game. I'm super excited to see who's going to be able to come through with it. Like you said, we think we're going to get confirmation on our next game. Let me take a look at it real quick. Looks like we are going to take a little bit of a break here. I think that we are good to take a break. It is going to be Mobile Gaming Association ready to go. We're going to take a quick break before we jump into our next game. We'll see you guys shortly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here once again with more MGA Wild Rift Copa America coverage. Should be a good matchup that we've got coming up here. It's Timbers Esports versus Brawl Stars. Now, we got a chance to see, I believe, both these teams in the stream last week. And again, apologies, my memory fails me. We do watch a lot of games. They've been some awesome ones, but we are about a minute away from the draft here. Timbers Esports versus Brawl Stars should be a good match, especially now that we've gotten later into the lower bracket. It's cool because, of course, the stakes are the same. Even if you make it all the way here, you lose one game, you are out. But these are the teams that have fought their way thus far. Higher caliber teams should be good. I am Vesper providing color commentary here. I'm joined once again by Moose providing a play-by-play. How you feeling? Ready to go? Excited for more Wild Rift?
You know, we're kind of like a hybrid right now. We're kind of just like, doing what we can, making sure that we both are able to get those hype plays coming through. You've been coming in with that great color commentary, and it's been a ton of fun starting off already here in today's bracket. Now, we are in the lower part of the losers bracket now. Timbers versus Brawl Stars. Whoever wins out in this lower bracket, in order to get into the losers finals, has to defeat the Infinity Gaming squad in their bracket matchup. Whereas in the top side of the game, Mayhem is the team that they've got to be able to defeat. So looking to be able to get these started and underway. Starting things off, we got Gragas getting picked up along with the Wukong. And then it does look like Galio, Camille, and Renekton. Ooh, interesting matchups coming through. We got Camille in the jungle. It looks like that's going to be interesting to see. But, I want to point something out here. When you see your team all have the name Timber on your lineup, definitely bodes, I think, hey, we're here to play. We're committed to getting these victories, and so I expect them to be able to perform exceptionally well. But we haven't really been talking about, what the other draft is going through for Brawl Stars. Ari, Corky coming in. Braum and Tristana coming out. I mean, very quick picks. Both these teams knowing what they want to be able to do. And now, we're getting the Go Yumi chat.
I love when we get those little glimpses from the chat. Yeah. Oh, Jana, hey, not so far from the Yumi, but doesn't have to stay attached to anybody. But wow, okay. So Tristana Braun will be the bot lane coming in here. So I didn't actually see what the bans were for this time, but the first thing that jumps out to me, Galio, Camille, Gragas, Wukong. Why does that sound familiar? Because those were the 4 champions banned in the last game. First 4 picks in this game. And that's so much wombo combo power. And now my one question with the Camille Galio. So for me, I always like the Jarvan Galio combination just a little bit better in most situations because Jarvan can lock in multiple people, especially you can have like a Ziggs bomb over the top. That can be insane. Having the Camille Galio means you're only going to get one person most of the time. You could try to play it so maybe the Camille doesn't use the ultimatum right away, you just hookshot in the back line, then Galio on top, or maybe you try to do it at such an angle you can get multiple people, but it's more of a burden of execution. But I'm with you, Moose, 100%. With all the Tims lined up here, except for Ninja, but we'll pretend he has Tim. The coordination is there, so maybe the coordination will be there on the Rift.
Yeah, and I think, but I don't think we see that coordination in draft. I'm actually kind of disappointed here coming in from Timber. You made a really good point, picking up the Galio with the Camille in the jungle. That's some really anti-synergy there coming through. They're going to have to play going to have to play well to coordinate that correctly. So, it's not like, Zero is not going to be the one that you're going to be going in for your heroic entrance on. It's going to be Cairo. It's going to end up being Rawlist or maybe Relly trying to be able to get themselves into that multi-man knockup. But even then, when you have Eric X playing as the Wukong in the jungle himself, he's going to have the ability to really put in a lot of damage to deny that CC with the Cyclone. You got the Charm coming in from OG, but a lot of mobility as well. And that's something that I feel like is going to really put Timber into a bad situation. They're going to have to play extremely well. They're going to have to play around these ultimates coming in from Brawl Stars if they want to be able to win this game. I definitely expect them to be able to do well, but it's all going to boil down to execution. And honestly, at the very first part of the game, we don't know for sure how well they're going to be able to execute. You'd like to say, oh, they're going to execute flawlessly, especially looking at some of their rankings, according to Solo Queue, being able to, I believe, get into that master level rank or doing really, really well. You expect them to have that coordination, but time will tell if it is actually going to execute here in this game.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of little details that kind of stick in the back of my mind when we watch some of these previous games. One of them that jumped out to me previously is seeing the pings constantly coming through. Now, we can't hear the team voice comms, but to me, that is a signal that these teams are pretty coordinated, because I think the best teams will be using voice comms and pings as a mix, because then you're taking full advantage of all that communication. So to me, that's a sign that the teams are fully communicated. So I'm always watching to see if a lot of pings that do come through. I know I saw with the Rengar previously, spam pinging every time he was going to go in, and it may look a little bit silly, but I think that's actually pretty good, because you never know, maybe the voice comms are talking about something else, or you know, you don't have time to do anything beyond pinging. I don't know, I do see some things coming through, so a little detail that jumps out to me. But again, we will see, as we do have Eric EX, I'm going to assume it could be Erisex. I'm going to go with Eric here though on the Wukong. Potentially looking by is going to be spotted out here. Looks like no action just yet, as a full reset did come through from the Camille for 0 there. So he went with the Phage and a dagger there. Should help him a little bit. And he's on the bot side as well, looking here, but Eric is already long gone.
Yep, a great play coming through from Eric X. I think it's Eric X, but I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with Eric here for this one. And you know, I'm questioning. I have a question for you. It looks like OG will be able to get away. What do you name as the Gragas? Wait, hold on. Flash coming through. Okay. No, question for you. What do you name the Gragas? He's got all the lions.
Yes. Oh, well, we do get a quick replay here, just forcing at the flash. Nicely done there in the Ahri. She is level 5, well, level 6 now. Past level 5, so it has the Spirit Rush available. I think that's gonna be one key thing to look, is if the with the Hextech ultimate from 0, if that can lock down the Ahri and the Corki as well. They both do have a little bit of escape there. Not gonna have the ultimatum, but yeah, I was thinking about that in draft. What do we call the Gragas here? A lot of I's and L's, I assume, potentially, I don't know, or just Gragas, or just we can just have like a moment of silence every time we intend to say the Gragas' name. There's a lot of options. Take your pick, I'd say. We'll see.
You know, we'll run with whatever comes first when we see him actually do something.
Yeah.
I always hate it. That is the one thing that, like, when I'm casting some of these matches, I mean, a lot of these names are great, but then when you get the lines, when you get the barcodes coming through, I don't know. Am I purchasing, Steam points or what's going on here? with it. But regardless, he's gonna be in the top lane. He does not have teleport, or he does have teleport ready to go if he wants to come in for this engagement. I don't think that Brawl Stars should be going for it, but they are gonna make the decision to make it happen. It does look like they're gonna try to make it happen as we get a lot of damage, but a huge X-Egg ultimatum, and it's gonna be the Galio who's gonna try to get the knockup. We'll be able to get several man in that one though. It's gonna be Cairo trying to be able to do what he can, but it's not gonna be enough. With the Camille now gone, Eric EX is gonna be able to get himself the dragon as we get a double kill here for Brawl Stars. Really miscoordinating coming in from Timber in that fight. They're going to end up losing 2 and the first dragon of the game, and maybe even some more here in the mid lane.
Yeah, you know, it was just perfectly played. They knew exactly what they needed to do. I'm going to shout out OGBS for hitting the perfect charm there onto 0, who is chasing down here. Maybe we have some kill. Okay, no, he's fine, I think. They want to tango over this Scuttle Crab, though, potentially. We'll see. I think they're just going to give it over to Timber. Okay. Never sure. Everything's on a knife's edge here. But yeah, perfect to get the pick there onto 0. And we talked about, I mean, you mentioned anti-synergy. It's even more anti-synergy when the Camille just dies before the Galio ultimate can even come in. So the Galio comes in, and there's nobody there, because look, Tristana's off here on the side. She's barely hitting anybody. She can't even walk into this. She's slowed. She's getting hit by the Drake. She's stuck in the pit here. Really, and she just has to jump out. So they're trying to never able to get anything. I think Rowless tried to make the best of a bad situation, but when you've got a Camille dead and you've only got a Galio Renekton against this team, it's just not enough. And you talked about, we both mentioned, the need for being coordinated here, especially with, the Camille able to jump in and out, needing to hit these taunts, needing to hit these knockouts, the Galio ult. Bad news if they cannot do that. So an early blow dealt here to Timber Esports. It's not the end of the game, but it's a real nice lead already for Brawl Stars.
Yep, and that's, I mean, that's going to be one part of it, but the other part of it is, mechanically execution. As we do get Brawl Stars looking to be able to go in for the Rift Herald, the beautiful tornado coming in, but it's not going to be enough. Hextech Ultimatum going to get used again by Zero as we get a nice multi-man knock-up there, but the Monsoon for the disengage. It is going to be Eric going down. The red team did pick up the Rift Herald, but what else did they get out of this? Cairo going to be in a bad spot. Will Rocket jump away into the flash, but the Valkyrie's going to come through, and it's going to be Corey GG going to be able to get the kill onto the Tristana. Galio's going to go down as well, and now OG coming in with a Spirit Rush is going to be there, but it's going to be Corey GG picking up the kill secure. 4 members of Timber go down, and on top of that, Brawl Stars picks up the Rift Herald only for 1 death of their own. Man, disastrous here for Timber Esports.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. I could not believe how much damage the Barcode Dragas was tanking up there. I wish I knew their name, because I definitely want to give him a shout out. Unbelievable. Has Leandries? He's not going full tank, and yet he was just an absolute menace for Timber. That entire fight was just forcing them all to flash away, hitting the body slams, hitting the big cats. That was huge. Initially, I thought it looked bad. It was a bad spot for Brawl Stars there, because it looked like the Galio ult was coming in and they were stuck in the Rift Herald pit, but they are able to fight their way out. The reinforcements came in. You pointed out OGBS coming in there at the end of the fight to help clean it up. And the fact is, I do think, yeah, this team comp, and you kind of hinted at it, it's difficult to play because I think when you're looking at Cairo on the Tristana, kind of wants a front to back or some kind of support here. I think the Braum is fine with the Tristana, but these fights, the way they've been playing out, are so weird. Usually Cairo is left running away from all this dive potential that's coming through from Brawl Stars, or he's just at a weird angle in the fight. Maybe part of that is execution, and they just need to be in a better position to let Cairo free hit, and maybe they need this Tristana to get some more time and get some more items. That's going to help a lot too. So they're looking for a pick, potentially, the old Fnatic brush, as we are 15 seconds away from that Cloud Drake. Looks like they're not going to find anything just yet. They might have first dibs on this Drake, but I think Eric and company should be here in time. But a lot of vision control set up by Timber. We'll see if any of that gets cleared out now by Brawl Stars.
All right, it does look like Hextech Ultimate is going to get used on OG, but he's going to go golden immediately and will avoid the taunt. Oh my goodness, OG, a sly fox there. Going to be able to get away, as Eric EX is going to be able to get the kill onto the Tristana in the mid lane, and on top of that, Rely is going to be able to go down as well. So, well, there was a good potential engage there for Timber in the bottom lane against the Ahri. I mean, that's a highlight play. That is a huge play coming in from the Ahri. I want to show it again because that was huge. She was able to use the Spirit Rush to get away from Ninja King's taunt and was able to survive. And then in the mid lane, it's going to be, Eric being able to pick up 2 kills again for Brawl Stars. Now they're in a 7 to 1 kill advantage, and everything is going their way. Yes, Timber was able to deny the Rift Herald from being able to get that tier 1 tower in the top lane, but so far, Brawl Stars playing phenomenally here in this early game.
Yeah, this is just really bad news. I think when I look at Rawless on the Renekton, I actually think he's been playing this game pretty well overall in a lot of these fights, but again, the execution is difficult, and I think it's just not been there. I mean, absolutely. Hey, credit to OGBS there on the outplay is, okay. Looks like that's going to be it for the time being, but you can see, okay, so there is some tankiness coming through from the Gragas now, which explains a little bit more. He's got the Bramble Vest, how he's able to tank the Camille, but absolutely, the problem, that's what you want, is you want the Hextech Ultimatum to lock down somebody like the Ahri. They even get that. They're not able to get the kill, and they lose to Tristana and Brahmin. I think Cairo is the one who's going to have to be keeping this team afloat in these fights. Ultimately, I mean, you're going to get some damage from the Camille Galio, but it's not going to finish anybody off. You're going to need Rawless to come in there, and even he, I think, is not going to be enough, especially now that they're down about 9,000 gold. I think the damage just might not be there. I think they've got to do everything they can, get some gold in this Tristana's pocket, hope maybe they can have these fights where she can free hit a little bit, but it's getting so hard, and especially, man, the Thorn Mail completed for the barcode Krakus is just huge. I think it's going to make it so difficult for this extremely heavy AD team comp for Timber to be able to cut through. That Gragas was so tanky, even without any armor. This is going to make it almost impossible to get through him.
And you know, at this point now, like, that's going to be the big issue. Kairo's actually dealing more damage to himself with his auto attacks rather than actually dealing the damage over to Barcode. He's going to end up actually, you know, getting more damage taken to him because of that Thorn Mail. And it's because he picked up that static shift first. He's going to be a little bit behind in terms of damage. Now he does have the Infinity Edge, so maybe that comment is a little bit mute. But still, going to have to play extremely carefully there. He's going to be losing health every time that he goes in for an auto attack, and there isn't any health or any shielding for her to be able to stop that just yet. And so that's going to be definitely concerning. I feel like, you know, with some of the picks that we're seeing from Timber in terms of their itemization, you go get the Trinity Force coming in from the Camille. That's pretty standard. You've got, you know, the Rod of Ages coming through as you get a lot of damage on Slash. Access ultimatum onto Corey, trying to be able to get away, but the Monsoon going to be able to deny it as we get a huge multi-man knockup coming in from Eric EX. It will end up being the Corki going down as the Cyclone comes through again. The Explosive Cast is going to get everyone taken out of that one as we do get up the heroic entrance. Rawls is still alive and is going to be able to survive. Timber going to be able to keep up the momentum as they end up getting the taunt. It will end up being the kill from the Ari onto the Renekton as Eric EX tries to do what he can. Slash is going to be able to survive for the time being, but will not be able to get out from the flash coming in from Zero, and will end up being an escape there. Corey GG, Slash goes down, Rawless will die for the blue team, but now Eric EX is going to try to go up against Zero. Ninja King is trying to be able to get away, and he's not going to be able to. Eric EX, the hero of this fight, as we get Brawl Stars getting back under control, making it a 4-for-2.
Yeah, you can see this replay. Best case scenario here for Timber Esports. Well, you know why? Because Gragas and Ari are not even here. Now, the Gragas teleports in. Ari does not have that luxury, so still it's a 45. This is exactly what Timber wants. They want to be able to kite back here. Very nice Gallia ultimate. They actually get 2 with the knockup, which I think is great considering the difficulty of that. It's, I think, the best setup they can have. Here we go, though. Okay, another fight.
Okay, Rawless trying to be able to get out of this one. Does pick up the dominance, but will not be able to survive. It will end up being OGBS being able to go onto a killing spree here today. 3-0-3. Kind of cut you off there with just the 1 kill. But at the end of the day, I mean, the coordination, like you said, the best case scenario there for Timber Esports trying to be able to get those kills. They were able to deny the kills from the Cyclone coming in from Eric EX. They were able to deny the kills coming in from Barcode using an amazing explosive cast. Monsoon had already been used from Slash, and so everything was looking good for them, but they weren't able to finish the job quickly enough. And with Zero trying to come through, he's going to be dealt so much damage with that combo coming in onto the from the Ari there, using the Orb of Deception into the Charm, getting that true damage and just obliterating them. But at the end of the day, you know, we don't even get to talk about it. I haven't even talked about it yet. Baron is now online for Brawl Stars as Zero. Use that ultimatum, not going to be able to get it, as OGBS is going to try to use the Spirit Rush to get away. This time, she will not escape. So it will end up being a 1-for-1. But man, Baron now online for Brawl Stars, trying to push forward with the siege that they've got. Corey GG trying to move forward with those rocket bars, but not going to be able to move any further, as Cairo is going to be able to use his damage to be able to get it back. Unfortunately, though, they do lose the other inner tower in the bottom lane. But man, 13-4, 55k to 41 is going to be the damage advantage here for Brawl Stars, and they're going to be able to pick up the inhibitor in the mid lane.
Oh, man.
Now they maybe want to finish the job. I don't know, Vest. What does Timber have to do if they want to win this game?
The ultimate question, isn't it? You know, there's so much to talk about, and as is typical for Wild Rift, so much action, so little time to talk. But I think the fact is now, there's just, we saw it in that last big team fight in mid, the ability to buy time is so huge for Brawl Stars, and part of it is a product of the lead they have. Another part of it is just, oh, well, we'll jump into the replay here, so just behind enemy lines, very much so for BS. I think he saw how much damage he's able to do to Zero's Camille. 0 resistances pretty much on that Camille, just gets shredded by OGBS's Ari, who's just crazy ahead right now. But does pay for it, unfortunately. So that kind of feels bad to give her that 1 kill, but it's still such a massive lead. I think you have to look for those fights again. Generally, Brawl Stars have been caught out with 1 or 2 people in side lanes, and the engage is pretty solid from Timber. So I think they just have to look for another one of those 5v3s. Unfortunately, last 5v3, it eventually didn't even work out for them because, like I said, the key is that Brawl Stars can buy so much time with the Wukong, with the Gragas. It's so hard to get through all of that. Maybe if the Tristana damage gets high enough, they'll be able to just burn through them quickly. It was nice that they got the pick on Corey GG when we look back at that mid lane fight. They've got to try to find those again. That's the only way they're going to do this, is with a man advantage, because they're just down way too much gold to do a 5v5.
Overall, it's going to be in a bad spot. We are going to get the heroic entrance. It's going to be able to get the knockup, but a huge explosive cast is going to get Ninja King out of position. It will be Rawless going down. King is going to be able to get out of this one, as now we get a lot of damage onto Relay as well. He's going to get knocked up as the Gragas goes unstoppable. And Unstoppable Barcode here picking up the big sales here on this game. It is a huge fight coming through clearance aisle here against Timber as they pick up yet another kill onto Zero. There is nothing that the blue team is going to be able to do as the Nexus is now exposed. It'll be Brawl Stars sending Timber Esports pack in here today. Just a little bit more damage onto the Nexus as they try to be able to get the kill. They will end up getting the dominating, obliterating kill onto Cairo, but it's Brawl Stars picking up the win.
They saved the KDAs there. Now, that was something they've been doing this whole game that I know I at least have not jumped on, but here you see the engage coming through. They find the Renekton, and then the Galio ult comes over the top. The cask is perfect to knock everyone in there. This is just exactly how Timber Esports do not want this fight to happen. And the Ahri, so good. OGBS has been so good with the charms and finding these picks. It makes sure that they win these fights, because even with as much of a gold lead, you want to make sure you're approaching the fight from the right angle, and the fact that they're able to find the picks and start the fight first instead of having somebody caught out with a Camille Galio or something like that is just perfect. And you can see in this. And okay, well, I was going to point out that the fact that that's something they do in all game is just juggling the damage they're taking between their front lines. I saw Corey GG playing so well in Slash too. They would back away if they're low health bars. They back away. Even Eric and Gragas rotating in and out of there. When somebody gets low, just back out. Let somebody else frontline tank some of that damage for you, and they just had that rotation in these fights going through so well, and it works so well when you've got the Corki and the Janna, because they've got the shields, they've got a little bit of extra mobility, they have the Monsoon to help peel that you pointed out, Moose. They just played these fights really immaculately. In Timber, I think they had to have perfect execution. They had to go everything go right, and it just never really happened. At the closest was that mid lane fight, and in the end, Brawl Stars bought enough time to win even that one. So credits Brawl Stars, a very, very clean game, and just excellent, excellent team fighting positioning there too.
All right, so I got 2 points. I got 2 points here. I do not agree with the game. I think Eric X played well. I think that he performed really, really good, but he does not deserve MVP in that fight. I think that, or in that game, I think that MVP should have either gone to Barcode, playing as the Gragas. He had some beautiful explosive casks, be able to get that position coming through to be able to initiate those team fights. But I want to talk about Slash playing on that Janna. I mean, really kind of underappreciated in some of these fights. We didn't really talk about her as often as I think that we should have. But she had some beautiful tornadoes to be able to knock up several members out of position, to be able to deny some of those big fights. The one that really comes to mind is the fight at Rift Herald. We saw Slash be able to get a multi-man knockup with the tornado to be able to stop the potential push coming through. It allowed for them to get the discoordinated team fight out of Timber. He had some amazing monsoons to be able to get the healing, to be able to keep them alive. So, I mean, really at the end of the day, Brawl Stars performed extremely well. A great performance all around. And my second point is, Timber, they lost in draft. I don't know if maybe they said, ooh, we got the Galio, ooh, we get the Camille, we got to pick both of these champions up because we banned out different champions in the game. So we have to pick up both the Galio and the Camille in order for them to be able to keep it going. But when you pick up the Galio first, like, the Camille then just becomes useless at that point. And you're putting him in the jungle as well. It was a really, I don't think that that was the best call for them. They were maybe trying to play with their food a little bit up against Brawl Stars, thinking, hey, they've got the ability to be able to get, the win here easily. But, picking up the Camille onto zero, picking up the Renekton along with the Galio, just it never was going to work out in the way that they were going to think that it was going to happen. And at this point, they end up falling behind, and they're going to be up against, and it's now going to be Brawl Stars pros facing off against Infinity Esports in this next game. I was talking about it before. Whoever wins this one has to face off against a really tough team in Infinity, and Brawl Stars has been able to push forward from losers round 1 into losers round 4. They are in the semifinals matchup, and they are now, or the quarterfinals matchup here for the losers bracket. But we've got a little bit of time before we get into that one. It's going to be Infinity up against Brawl Stars in our next game. Should be about ready to begin that game in about 10 minutes or so. So we're going to take a quick break. But we're going to be live in just a moment. Mobile Gaming Association League of Legends Wild Rift Tournament coming to you in just a moment. See you soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, a little bit of news, a little bit of disappointing news. Unfortunately, that is actually going to be it for our coverage for today. Unfortunately, our two teams have had some issues with scheduling. They're both unable to play right now, so the match is being rescheduled. No forfeiting or anything like that. This match is going to happen. I've been told Infinity versus Brawl Stars is the one we're talking about here. One of our two quarterfinals, I believe, here for the lower bracket, if I'm not mistaken. So the match is going to be rescheduled, unfortunately. So that is going to actually be it for the day, sadly, Moose.
Yeah, I mean that's it's unfortunate, but it happens, and I mean, and that's something that we have to recognize as as casters and as tournament organizers. At the end of the day, sometimes a tournament goes a little bit too far, goes a little bit too long, or maybe something happens. But at the end of the day, we will be able to see Infinity versus Brawl Stars later on in the bracket, or later on in the week, maybe next week. We'll see what the scheduling decides to go for it. But taking a look at the bracket right now, so Infinity up against Brawl Stars is going to be the losers quarters finals matchup. Whoever wins that one is going to take the victor between Mayhem and I believe Celestials in that other losers quarters matchup. The winner of those two games will face off, and then of course it's going to be Tribe up against oh, my name escapes me in the upper bracket, but we'll see it in a second. But the loser of that game in the winners finals matchup will be facing off against the winner of the losers round 5 in a losers final battle to potentially be able to secure themselves one final chance to get into the grands. And so the tournament is starting to wrap up. Our teams are now looking thinner and thinner as the days progress, and we're going to be looking to potentially see our victor getting crowned here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see, especially some of these teams getting to see a number of times. We've seen Infinity a couple of times, Brawl Stars a couple of times, so it's cool to follow these teams as they progress and kind of see some of the different facets and angles they've got. Here we go. We've got the upper bracket on your screen right now. So 420 versus Tribe Gaming is the semifinals there. Now, Tribe Gaming, they have really been the heavyweights of the NA Wild Rift scene. They've had a lot of success. 420, though, we got a chance to see them, I think, twice in the upper bracket. Definitely very formidable. I want to say, I'm trying to remember Pierce, who was talking about, he had some inside knowledge. I think they're a pretty new team, some kind of solo queue superstars put together, and they've been doing really, really well early on. So that's a new team I think is only going to get stronger the more time and experience they get in tournaments like this. So that should be a good matchup. One of those two is going to prevail in the finals, and they're going to be facing one of the victors here from the lower bracket. Should be a lot of fun. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as well. We will be following the lower bracket of the Latin America South and Brazil division. And again, $2,500 prize on the line, $1,250 per division, split up between, I believe it's the top 4 teams here. So just making it to the semifinals is already a small victory, but all these teams do want that gold. It's Olympics time. Everybody wants the gold right now, I think.
Exactly. And so, I mean, it's fun to be able to have two different brackets available. Having that NA bracket, you got Latin America as well, like you were talking about. So shout outs to MGA really being able to get us here some really good performances and showing us, a lot of potential talent throughout both the NA and the the Latin America scene. It's always going to be fun. Wild Rift is growing, it's expanding. Players are really starting to really enjoy it and starting to build a meta that is, all their own, something completely different than what we've been seeing here in League of Legends itself. However, like you said, I mean, this is going to do it today for the tournament. It was been great being able to cast with you, Vestberger, and so I'm excited to be able to come back again next weekend and finish the job. I unfortunately will not be here tomorrow, but I know that Vest is going to be able to pull off some amazing plays and have some great commentary as well. But yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. As always, if you guys want to follow me, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Mooscasts, or Mr. Mooscasts. Vestberger, I believe you're at Vestberger on Twitter as well.
Correct. Yes.
So perfect. Yeah, please feel free to follow him. He has been fantastic. He's been the one that Well, we've had some really great behind the scenes staff. Anihai going to be able to come in and really focus on getting the stream observer coming through. Appreciate you for doing what you do. But everyone else behind the scenes as well has been a ton of fun to be able to cast and have a great, really well run tournament here to cast for you guys. We're gonna be back again next week. We're gonna find out the final winners here as we jump into it. Any final thoughts there, Vest, or are we good to go?
I think we're just good to go. You're awesome, Moose. Fantastic job today. Excellent casting. I had a ton of fun today. Honestly, I mean, I feel like every time it's like casting, it's like, haha, these games are great. But I honestly had a lot of fun, truly. I'm super excited for tomorrow, and I'm excited. We're going to be back as a duo next Saturday, too, for some finals matches. Next weekend is going to be awesome as well, so I'm super hyped. And I echo everything you say. Shout out to Anihi and Cali Life and all the guys with MGA running the show behind the scenes, everything like that. And of course, shout out to the awesome viewers and the awesome teams putting on a sweet show. It has been great. I'm excited for more Wild Rift in the coming days.
My plague of not being able to say names correctly continues. Oh no. Oh man, I apologize.
Oh, and don't even worry about it. I mean, hey, we do the best we can. We got there's a barrage of random player names. Some of them are just barcodes. We do everything we can. I think it's the intention that matters. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, if I'm forgiven, I hope you guys can forgive us for ending the stream again today a little bit early. But like you said, we got finals matches coming in next week. Mobile Gaming Association, League of Legends, Wild Rift, North America, Latin American tournaments. Be sure to come back tomorrow on Sunday for the Latin American lower bracket. But in the meantime, on behalf of all of our teams, all of our players, the coordinators behind the scenes at the Mobile Gaming Association, Cali Life, Anihai, and everyone else, my name is Mr. Moose. I'm joined on the caster's desk by Vesberger. Have a great afternoon and Saturday, everyone. Take care.
See you.